eCapitol News Director Sean Ashley joins us with the latest news from the state capitol. Sean, thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome.
Now, what's your takeaway from this week's primary, its possible impact on state government?
There are a number of things to be considered, I think. First of all, I think one of the things we saw is that there is a continued urban-rural split among our voters. If you look at the top two vote getters in the Republican gubernatorial race, Mick Cornett and Kevin Stitt, you saw that they received most of their support from Oklahoma City and Tulsa, respectively, their hometowns. Lieutenant Governor Todd Lamb won most of the other districts in the state, creating this map where now the two in the runoff, Cornett and Stitt, have to go after Lamb's voters in all those rural areas. Coincidentally, the State Question 788 medical marijuana vote looked much the same, with much of the passing votes coming in the metropolitan areas, particularly Oklahoma City and Tulsa, and most of the rural areas voting against that. I think that will carry forward into the legislature next year, and we will continue to see some battles between our urban legislators and our rural legislators over issues that are important to them within their respective districts.
And that's always been a battle.
That has always been a battle in the Oklahoma legislature.
Now, there was an interesting twist to the primary involving House District 37 and the winner. Explain that for us.
Well, this is a rather interesting situation. Former Representative Ken Luttrell won the Republican primary, beating Steve Vaughn, the former chair of the House Wildlife Committee. What was interesting about this is that Luttrell is a former representative. He served from 2006 to 2010 as a Democrat. He now wins the Republican primary and will come back to the House of Representatives as a Republican. It appears that he plans to remain a Republican, but we haven't heard definitely one way or the other.
Now, one impact from the primary elections was that 3 committee chairmen lost their jobs. How's that going to affect things at the Capitol?
Well, every couple of years we see a shift take place in our committees, and sometimes even within a legislature, within that 2-year period. For example, we saw outgoing Representative Leslie Osborne removed from chair of the House Appropriations and Budget Committee, going from 2017 into 2018. It shouldn't be much of a problem because we will be getting new committee chairmen, but it will put people with lacking experience in new roles, and that's going to be a big problem for the entire legislature because we'll have so many new members coming in.
Now, the Ethics Commission has historically been underfunded, but they have filed suit over its lack of funding. What is the issue on this?
Well, really what they're doing is challenging the constitutionality of Senate Bill 1600, the General Appropriations Bill. They said lawmakers took money from the Ethics Commission's own revolving fund and gave it to them, perhaps in violation of the state constitution. Additionally, they said that simply is not enough money. It's barely enough money to meet the requirements, to meet the obligations they have, as well as the other responsibilities that the legislature has been passing off to them. They point to the original formation of the commission when it was discussed that 5% of the prior gubernatorial campaign contributions probably should be dedicated to the commission for its operations. If that had been the case, that would have been about $3 million for the upcoming fiscal year. Ironically, that's how much they say they need to do everything they're supposed to do.
Sean Ashley from eCapitol News, thanks for joining us.
You're very welcome.